Hey, nice to see you. I always love the part where I'm not sure if I'm live, but then I am live. You know what I mean? It's so hard to judge your liveness. Are you alive? I'm alive. Anyways, I'm Don. It's late. I'm up. Hi. How the heck are you guys? Tonight we're going to be watching Fargo, the Coen Brothers classic, Joel and Ethan Coen. I'm a big Coen Brothers fan. One of my favorite movies of all time is The Big Lebowski. So rather than jump in on the fave and then work my way out, I thought I would kind of like sprinkle in some here and there, and we'd get to Lebowski at some point. Um, this one, I believe I saw second. I saw Lebowski first, and it drug me into the Cohen world and made me a fan. And then I went back and watched Fargo, and then after that, I watched like all the Coens. Um, Blood Simple and Hudsucker Proxy and Miller's Crossing and The Man Who Knew Too Much. There's a ton of them. So basically, this was my second movie that really got me hooked on the Coens and what they do. Like all their movies, they're not that good the first time. Like they have real kind of convoluted and confusing plot, a real twisty and turny, and a lot of things just seem mundane, but they're important. First time you watch a Coen Brothers movie, generally not so much. But by like the second or third time, they become great. And that's how Fargo is. Every time I watch it, it actually gets better. So, yeah, I enjoy this one a lot. I watched it probably, I don't know, 3-4 months ago when it was wintertime. So I thought we'd watch it tonight, and it's a nice chill movie. It's cold here. The temperature dropped back down into the 40s, so it's a good cuddle up with a blanket and watch a chill movie. So this one's fun. We'll talk about the Coen brothers. We'll talk about Frances McDormand. Talk about the TV show. Figured we would probably get into some of the other Coen brothers, etc. So lots to talk about. This one's only an hour and 40 minutes, so we got a while. It should be done relatively quick. It's 2:02 a.m. Central Time, so I'll probably get started here in a minute or two, and we'll be out of here by like 3:45 or so. I'm watching this one on HBO Max. Or Max. I'm never going to stop calling it HBO Max. I'm never. Echo says, cuddle up with a spork. You're damn right I will. Welcome, Echo. It's a raid in Boglands. Welcome, Echo. Nice to see you, buddy. Cha. Yeah, this one's streaming on Max. Even no matter how much I call it HBO Max, it's still going to be Max. So it's streaming on Max. You probably find it other places as well. Let me see here. Right now they're claiming. Oh yeah, let's see. We got it on Max, YouTube Prime, Hulu. So if you got the Hulu, if you got a premium Roku subscription, what's this with Amazon Prime? I think you can rent it or buy it. But either way, I'm watching it on Max. No commercials. It'll be nice and fast for all of us. Nanette is here, and she gives me the side eye. How are you, Nanette? And how is Jack? Actually, I heard you guys earlier. Well, Jack, or fake Jack, as it were. I popped in at the Boneyard earlier. I took a nap, and I woke up, and I saw that the Midnight Hour, not the Boneyard, excuse me. I saw Bones was hosting Hobbs Horror Midnight Hour. See how I get confused? And I woke up, and I was all stupid and out of it, and I had on the show for a while. And I saw you were in the chat. Saw Lay was there. I saw the whole crew was there. So I listened to about the point Echo proclaimed himself the Queen of England. But at that point, I got a phone call. So by the time I tidied all that up and listened to the very end, you guys wrapped it up, and I didn't have anything clever to say, so I lurked. I gave you the lurker eyes. So it is 2:04. I've got this queued up on Max. I'm going to get ready to hit play shortly. Let me know if you've seen Fargo, if you like it, if you like the show, if you're a fan of the Coen brothers. For as many movies as I've done on this channel, I've never done a Coen brothers movie before. It's one of my faves. So I thought we would jump in with this one. It's a good time to dissect what they do. It's a cool flick to watch, nice and chill. So 2:05. There you go. So I'm going to press watch now in 3, 2, 1, and there we go. And Echo says, that is Queen Echo. My apologies, Her Majesty. And there's the MGM logo with the lion roar. One, two roars. There's an old legend. I don't think it's true though. You can judge how good the movie's going to be by how many times the lion roars. I think that's a wives' tale. Here's one of the things about this movie is it starts off with a title card that says, "This is a true story. And at the request of the survivors, the names have been changed. Out of respect for the dead, the rest has been told exactly as it occurred." So this sort of almost like predecessor to the Blair Witch type thing where they insinuate that this is true and you're watching a reenactment. You know, it kind of adds to the bizarreness of this movie. The first time you see it, that's the main word you come away with, is just bizarre. But then, you know, after you've seen it 2 or 3 times, you love the dialogue and the scenes, like the way things are shot, the snowy landscapes and the giant Paul Bunyan statue. There's all those memorable stuff, especially the wood chipper scene at the end. I'm in the bathtub and Jack is beside the bathtub. Well, thanks for joining us from the bathtub. Look at you leading a luxurious life. Me, you, Jack, Mr. Bubble, Queen Echo. So this starts off, there's William H. Macy's title card. We see this big like snowy landscape. This movie's super 1990s indie. The big stars of it are William H. Macy, Steve Buscemi, and Frances McDormand, and what's his name, Peter Stormare. So, you know, it's not like there's any huge names in it that people are like, oh, you know, I gotta see this movie or whatever. So it dissolves in from white, which is really kind of cool. You know, a lot of times you fade in from black, but this movie opens up on white, and then the logo or the images fade in through the white, and you get the idea you're in this snowy landscape. This movie's kind of weird. It's called Fargo, but almost all of it takes place in Minnesota. Don't you know? Yeah, there. But it's right on the border there. So, you know, that's where the Brainerd, Minnesota is right next to Fargo, I guess, or at least within the area. There's the title card, Fargo. So I'm at 2 minutes and 30 seconds before they get to the title card. Interesting. The Coen brothers in general, I love their stuff because it's a super black comedy, like just dark, a lot of like jokes about death and a lot of things you wouldn't even notice, like dad jokes mixed in with the regular dialogue. Almost every line of dialogue in a Coen brothers movie is some sort of witty line. You just have to like know what you're watching to eventually pick up on it. So most Coen brother movies I don't even enjoy until at least the second or third watch. So now here we're in Fargo. We're at the King of Clubs. You guys ever been to a dive bar called the Clubs? This bar he walks into looks like a bunch of the bars in Wisconsin, like just the wood paneled walls and the people sitting around in hunt coats and camouflage baseball caps and stuff. So this movie feels far away, but at the same time it feels right next door because it literally is right next door. It's like the state over. So, well, not literally, but you know what I mean. Damn it. So here we meet Buscemi and Stormare, and they're the hitmen that William H. Macy is going to try to hire. Well, they're not really hitmen. They're going to kidnap his wife and hold her hostage so he can eventually get some money out of it, but everything goes wrong. Not me. Not you, what? Yeah, right away we start off with the classic dialogue that, yeah, you bet. Okay, yeah, hey. So you're supposed to get an idea that this isn't New York or LA, or these aren't, you know, some exotic characters. There's some, you know, middle America characters. And Peter Stormare is hilarious in this whole movie. He's like, I don't know if he's sedated or what his deal is, but he's just like zoned the whole movie. I've never been to a bar called the Club, the King of Clubs. Yeah, me neither. That's a new one for me. But I've been to lots of clever named bars, none of which I can think of. Yeah, this one, much like Lebowski, incredibly convoluted plot. Like it's got a lot of twists and turns, and trying to keep track of the characters becomes confusing. So the first time, maybe even the second time you see it, you're just trying to like piece together what exactly you're seeing. And then by the time you see it like the third time or the fourth time, it's all hilarious and fun to watch. but asking somebody to watch a movie 3 or 4 times before it gets good is that's a lot. But that's part of what the Coen brothers do. That's why I dig their stuff. Actually, let's go ahead and check out the Coen brothers filmography, as it were, right now. Let me see. Let's bring it up here. The weird thing is they because they do everything together. Sometimes one will have a writing credit, the other one will have the directing credit. Sometimes they'll flip flop that. They both produce. They really just do everything as a team. That's part of the reason I admire them. They speak each other's language and they understand each other's sense of humor because they're brothers. Let's see here. Where's a filmography for them? All right. They did Blood Simple in 84. Raising Arizona, classic. Who doesn't love Raising Arizona? Arguably Nicolas Cage's best movie, arguably. But Raising Arizona is wonderful. Miller's Crossing in 1990. If you haven't seen that, that's really good. It's this like mobster movie, but old school, like 40s gangster. Everybody's in cool suits, and it's all just this like mob boss and the young punk gangster and his crew and all this. It's really cool. It's worth watching, about hitmen and stuff. Barton Fink in 91. That's like a crazy dark comedy about business and like the business world, and especially it's got like a 1920s sort of Citizen Kane feel to it. Hudsucker Proxy, or I'm sorry, Barton Fink is the Hudsucker Proxy is the one about business, and then Barton Fink is the one where the guy's trying to write a screenplay. That's John Turturro plays a screenwriter. He's writing a wrestling picture. Sorry, I was looking ahead and thinking wrong. And then they did Fargo in 96. So you can sort of see their weirdness. Like Raising Arizona is like relatively mainstream. It's kind of funny and silly. It's, most people get it's a comedy. But Miller's Crossing is more of a gangster movie. And then Barton Fink and Hudsucker Proxy are like dark comedies. So Fargo falls in that. And then they follow Fargo up with Big Lebowski. And then Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? That one's another crazy fun movie. All of these would got like a ton of critical acclaim. Then The Man Who Wasn't There. Most people didn't like that one. That was a black and white one with Billy Bob Thornton. I enjoyed it. It's bizarre and weird, but you got to dig black and white, kind of like almost Alfred Hitchcock Presents type style. And then Intolerable Cruelty with George Clooney and Catherine Zeta-Jones. It's I saw it in theater because I love Coen Brothers movies, and it's arguably one of my least favorite of theirs. Their absolute least favorite of theirs is The Lady Killers in 2004, the next one. Didn't like it at all. It's a remake of an old Peter Sellers movie. Tom Hanks is weird in it. I don't know, I think one of the Wayans is in it. I've only seen it, I think once, and I saw it on the TV, like a background one time, and I was like, no thanks. So yeah, I don't dig Lady Killers. That's probably my overall least favorite of their film. And then No Country for Old Men, which is a masterpiece. It's like this Western crazy gangster. It's a lot of the same stuff they did in Blood Simple, like the tone and the like murder mystery, like building rising tension throughout the whole thing. It's adapted from a novel, but it's wild. Javier Bardem is like amazing in it. Then Burn After Reading, which is one of their like lesser popular films, but it's kind of a cult one. Most people dig Burn After Reading. It's weird. Brad Pitt's like a total nutcase in it, but it's got a huge, big popular cast: Clooney, Frances McDormand, John Malkovich, Tilda Swinton, Brad Pitt. But it's a fun, good time, but it's bizarre and weird. And then A Serious Man I never saw. I've always been meaning to. I know that one got a lot of Oscar acclaim and awards acclaim. All their stuff does. And then True Grit in 2010. True Grit's really good. I never saw the old John Wayne one, or I think I did once, but make with Matt Dillon and Josh Brolin and Jeff Bridges, and it's just like, I don't know, really, really good, well made. You have to dig westerns, but as far as modern westerns go, it's a pretty damn good one. Never saw Inside Llewyn Davis, another one that was like A Serious Man. It kind of went under my radar, and by the time I got around to having an opportunity to see it, I wasn't as interested. Hail Caesar is funny, but it's kind of weird and quirky. It's a bigger picture. It's more singy, dancey, or whatever. It's like a cross kind of between Barton Fink and no, not, was made for Netflix, and that one's like an anthology kind of thing. It's got a bunch of different stories, but once again, they pick up on the Western stuff. I'm assuming the Coen brothers must really be into Westerns later on in their career. But oh, and then in 2021, Joel Only directed The Tragedy of Macbeth. And Ethan Only directed Jerry Lee Lewis' Trouble in Mind, an A24 film. Drive Away Dolls, which I've never heard of, and Honey Don't, which I think pretty much all of us had said at some point in our life. Let's see. Oh, that's here. I don't ever think I've seen Raising Arizona. Oh, Raising Arizona is really, really good. Funny. It's kind of a cute movie about parenthood and wanting kids and stuff, but it's just this bizarre kind of, movie full of screwballs. Oh, I like Where Brother Are Out Though. Yeah, that's a good one. That's got a good soundtrack. The soundtrack sold a bunch. That was like the main thing that movie was known for. That and Clooney had kind of struggled being in movies. Like he was doing all right, but it wasn't until Oh Brother Where Art Thou where people really were like, oh, Clooney's awesome in movies. People thought he might be only a TV star. I like The Big Lebowski. Yeah, most people do. That's one that's it's the first time you see it, it's because you're like, I don't get it. Like, what is going on here? And then after you watch it the second time and the third time and the 16th time, it's like, this movie is brilliant. And Fargo is kind of in that same boat. First time you see it, but I'm probably now in my 10th watching or so, and I love it. I haven't seen that movie, but I don't know. You're going to ask, so I'll tell you. No Old Country for Old Men. Yeah, that's a crazy one. Super cool, convoluted plot about crime and stealing and I'm a hitman and all this stuff, but really well made, and it's got kind of this ambiguous kind of ending that makes people talk. So it's one of those movies when it's done, you have to think about it for a while. I dig it though. It's a cool flick. Honey, don't use lube. I like it rough. Oh, Queen Echo is on a roll tonight. Her Majesty, tone it down. Let's see. Yo. Jason Ginger Ninja is here. Welcome, Jason. Nice to see you, buddy. How's everyone going? Yeah, how are you guys doing? Lamonia, there you are. I was mentioning earlier, I was on, I woke up as the midnight hour was on. And I heard you at one point talking about your butthole, the huge. And Echo proclaimed, Queen Echo, sorry, Her Majesty, proclaimed himself the Queen of England. I was glad to hear Erica got some Fritos. She's been on the lookout for those Fritos. So I was glad that all worked out. But anyways, I'm glad you're here, baby. Hello, Ginger Ninja JK. Good in you, Ninja. Everybody's saying hello to each other. I like that. Ha, love that. Wow, I speak about lube and Lay shows up. It's my girl. Anyways, so the two hitmen, Buscemi and Storemare, in the movie I'm supposed to be watching, they're on their way to go kidnap Marge Gunderson, and they stopped at the place to get a couple prostitutes. And it's just this bizarre scene where the two of them are in queen beds in a hotel room next to each other having sex with these prostitutes, and then they cut to a scene of the two of them laying there watching The Tonight Show together. So it's just supposed to show like the mundane level of even crime. It's just like, hey, even sexy prostitution is just sort of like, it's a thing in this movie. Doing good, Echo. Funny how that works. Jinjin and everybody's saying hello to each other. So here's where William H. Macy's back. He's kind of the star of this. As I mentioned, this movie's super indie. William H. Macy, Frances McDormand, and Steve Buscemi are your big stars. So it's classic 90s low budget indie filmmaking. Let's see what they hit for on this one. It cost $7 million to make, and it got a box office of $60.6 million. So it more than 9 times its money, roughly. It won it premiered at Cannes. The film was nominated for the Palme d'Or. Joel Coen won the Prix de la Mise en Scène, which is the Best Director award. At the Oscars, it got 7 nominations. At the 69th Academy Awards. Nice. Including Best Picture, Best Director, Best Supporting Actor for Macy, and it won Best Actress for McDormand and Best Original Screenplay for the Coens. It is currently 94% by the critics and 2% by the audience on Rotten Tomatoes, and a 8.1 out of 10 on IMDb. So in case you didn't guess, yeah, this movie's a heavy hitter as far as critically goes, but only 60 million at the box office. So once again, we get back to our constant argument. Do you please the critics or do you please the fans or the audience? You know, this would probably need more action or explosions or jokes or a talking parrot or some shit for this to appeal to a bigger audience than $60 million worth. But it appealed to the critics, and that's why it's still around. Let's see here. Don, everyone in the chat, cheers. Mikey, welcome, buddy. Nice to see you. You're mainly into horror and weird ass stuff. You into Fargo, Mikey? I'm looking at the MVD sales. Some of the movies I've had my eyes on sale. Oh, nice. Echo shopping. Nanette's in pain and she's wishing she could sleep. There you go. Good luck with that. What was that movie William H. Macy was in love with Nev Campbell? Oh yeah, what was that? Was that The Loser, maybe? Or is that Panic? Or Edmund? Oh dear Lord, William H. Macy, you've got such a yeah, I guess it was Panic was the one where he's in love with her. But I also get it confused with Edmund, where he's in love with Julia Stiles. But William H. Macy, let's delve into his career while he's on screen here. Here's the part where you see he's a car salesman. So he's constantly trying to like upsell people on the undercoating and all these things. And I'm not taking that undercoating. It's like a running gag in the movie. And he's like, oh gosh, that true coat, you really need that. William H. Macy as Jerry Lundegaard. I think he's probably most famous from Shameless, right? Let's see. His big four on IMDb are Fargo, Magnolia, Shameless, and Boogie Nights. So yeah, I would guess Shameless. He's got 147 acting credits. Where's Bones when we need it 2 hours later? Let's see. His first film, well, he was in a TV miniseries called The Awakening Land. He was in and that was in 78. He was in Somewhere in Time, Fooling Around, Another World, Without a Trace. He was in War Games as the NORAD officer. He was uncredited. So, there you go. The first big picture he was in was War Games. The Boy Who Loved Trolls. Don't we all here on YouTube? He was in The Last Dragon? I didn't know that. As JJ. Interesting. So he's in The Last Dragon. If you haven't seen that, I recommend it. Sure enough. Radio Days, Alive from Off Center, House of Games. That's a really cool David Mamet movie. It's like a complicated, what do you call it? Con game movie. The Murder of Mary Fagan, Spencer for Hire, Things for Change, Nick and Hillary, After School Specials, Barton Fink. So there he is with the Coens again. Homicide, Shadows and Fog. I believe that was Woody Allen. Law and Order, Civil Water Engine, Murderous Affair, Heart of Justice, $20. Benny and June as Randy Birch. There you go. There's your 90s indie for you. LA Law, The Client, Oleana, Murder in the First. So that's a decent one. Evolver, Roommates Above Suspension, Mr. Holland's Opus. That feels like a movie he'd be in. Down Periscope. That's some wackiness. Then Fargo in 96. He was in Hiiiiii. That one's a decent one. Ghosts of Mississippi. Air Force One as Major Caldwell. Get off my plane. Boogie Nights, where he's like the world's most famous cuckold. Jerry and Tom, The Con, Pleasantville. Hercules, the Psycho remake as Milton Arbogast. Once again, there's your 90s indie stuff. A Civil Action, that's pretty good. It's a John Travolta. I believe that's the one about the tobacco stuff, maybe. Mystery Men, or is that the one about the oil place? Slight Case of Murder, Wild Thornberries, The Night of the Headless Horseman. Nice. Magnolia in 99. So that's all just up to 2000. He'd be working. There's Panic for you, the Nev Campbell one. Jurassic Park 3. Focus, Door to Door, The Cooler, Out of Order, Spartan, Cellular, Sahara, Edmund, The Simpsons as himself. He was in Dougal. Poor William H. Macy. If you're not familiar with Dougal, that's the Kevin Smith animated film. Well, he plays the dog that's animated. I don't think it's actually, he didn't direct it. He was A Quiet Man, Bart Got a Room, The Deal, The Tales of Desperate, Maiden Heist, Marmaduke, Lincoln Lawyer, Versailles, Single Shot, Trust Me, Rudderless, Two-Bit Waltz, Cake, Dial a Prayer, Stealing Cars, Room, Bloodfather, Crystal, Pepsi the Encounter, Shameless Hall of Fame, Shameless, The Dropout, The Conners, Ricky Stenicki, and he's in Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, currently in theaters. So there you go. There's your William H. Macy rundown. He's pretty damn good. He's primarily a second banana, but he's a lead in some, often usually in indie films. My favorite Macy, I see Nanette's asking, my favorite Macy, probably this. He's pretty damn good in this. This or Boogie Nights. Like I said, he's the world's most famous cuckold in that. What else we got here? Nanette. It's not going to happen, but I appreciate you trying to knock me out, Don. Well, I tried. That's a strange sentence. Yes, I like Fargo. I picked up the Blu-ray not too long ago. Yeah, I like Fargo. It's so weird, and even now, just looking at the scenes, the way it's like the snow constantly behind it, it's a good curl up with a blanket and watch movie. It's funny. It's a nice level tones. There's not a lot of like, uneven. It just plays smooth all the way through. But the performances are all awesome. I love The Last Dragon. I don't remember him in it. Me neither. Sho'nuff, the Shogun of Harlem. Leroy, the Piranha Tank. Mikey, we're going to have to watch The Last Dragon one of these days. So what's your favorite William H? Yeah, that's what I would think. Probably this or Boogie Nights. I've only seen a handful of episodes of Shameless, but everybody loves it. I don't know anybody who doesn't like Shameless who watches it, so... Thank you, Lamonia. Right on cue, my dear. Did you ever watch Shameless? I love him in that. Yeah, that's, I think, his breakthrough role. I always think of him as Jerry Lundegaard in this, but I have a feeling if I watch Shameless, that would be the main thing I would think of him. Nanette says Magnolia. That's not a bad one either. Is Shameless with the one with the Wayans brother? No, that's like I don't know if it's Wayne brother on there or not, but it's the one with it's a Showtime series. How long was it on for? I think it's still on, isn't it? It ended in 21. There you go. 134 episodes. Ran for a decade from 2011 to 2021. Yeah, I know a friend of mine calls her dog Frank. I was about to order Frankenhooker, but I already own a copy of How I Could Have Forgotten. I own a copy of Frankenhooker. And you can never have too much Frankenhooker, right? At a certain point, it's just like, I've got 3. That's enough. But yeah, until then, just keep buying Frankenhooker. I know it's a TV show. I think Stars. There you go. Okay, yeah, I thought it was Showtime. I know my mom was way into it, and she watched it all on Netflix or wherever it was. A few hours later, there's Mr. Bones. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you popping in. I was mentioning I was lurking on the midnight hour earlier, but I didn't get a chance to say anything clever in between phone calls and being half dumb from waking up from a nap, but I got there late. I did see Echo made the Queen of England. That's all that matters. Showtime, okay? So me and Lamonia on the same page. Coen Brothers Madness, Crazy 88 approved. Hey, broskies and broskets. Welcome, 59 Survivor. Nice to see you, buddy. Yeah, this is a crazy one weird. I'm glad the Crazy 88 approved. Here's this awesome shot where they're showing the frustration of Frank, and he's like trying to scrape the ice off his window because everything's just falling apart. And they show this huge wide shot of this empty parking lot filled with snow, and you see the light beams. I don't know, probably must have been done with a crane or something. And you just see him isolated in a small section of the screen trying to scrape at the ice, frantically losing his shit. Sir Bones. All right. Survivor, Bones, Survivor, The Eye of the Tiger, Boogie Night VHS demo tape, as well as a demo tape with a naked man done by Coen as well. That one is sealed. I need to get it graded. Oh yeah, Boogie Nights is. I think that was probably the first time I gave him thought, but I'd seen him in all sorts of stuff. Don, can't you answer PMs? I tried to hit you up and tell you we got Swamp Kitty to come up on MH. I woke up and saw that I had missed it, and then I saw the link and I was like, oh, okay. So I quick went online. I went on YouTube and I opened it up, and then I kind of laid in bed and was just listening to you guys talk. Leigh was talking about her butthole. God love her. But yeah, that was when we found out Erica got those, so I was relieved. And then shortly after that, somebody called, and I just let them talk, and I listened to you guys over here, and I listened to this voice over here, and then I was eventually just the show ended, and I was behind. But God bless the midnight hour. I saw they were still pinning the link to Hobbs at the up corner there, trying to finish Hobbs' OnlyFans goal. So be sure to check out our friend Hobbs' page, and be sure to check out the midnight hour earlier. Damn it. He just said he was watching us before. Yeah. Mikey Broski, dinner time. Happy to see everybody. Lurking mofo, huh? Yeah. Sometimes when I wake up from a nap, like in the morning time, I wake up, I'm either rushing around or I can take my time. It's one or the other. But when I wake up from a nap, I'm usually like, where am I? Like, what time is it? What day is it? So yeah, I'm extra dumb, fresh off the nap. Who doesn't need more Frankenhooker in their life, right? I think my sin is forgetting I owned a copy. Well, I still say just multiple copies of Frankenhooker, all the Frankenhookers, all the Frankens, Frankenweenie. I'm sure there's some other Frankens. Al Franken. I do, Ginger, but I have the Zombie Strippers covered with Mr. England as the club manager. I found that one for $4. Ooh, nice. Zombie Strippers. I have that one too. I have it on disc, but not Blu-ray. Or DVD, but not Blu-ray. He needs a copy of Frankenhooker, so Echo, balance it out. Again, it is Queen Echo. I apologize, Her Majesty. My disrespect shall not be working. There's Lamonia's butthole. Layhole. Thanks to Pap for the dono. Oh, Pap came by, huh? I did see him in there. I saw him name go by when working. Pap. Yeah, we love us some Nate here. Nate's good people. Yeah, shout out to Pap. He was the only dono, but it was a beefy one. Pap's good people, man. I like Nate. Whenever he's around, he brings good vibes, and he's only through the internet. That's kind of amazing. I just woke up from a nap too. I'm cold. Come here, Bill. Come here. It's okay. It's okay. You know, like most people, I keep a pad and paper next to the computer with a spork and some reading glasses. I'm horrible when I wake up in the morning. I boot up like a Windows 98 computer. Never heard of Zombie Strippers. Oh, yes, you have, you liar, with Jenna Jameson walking around with the maggots falling out of her butt. I'll hail the queen. Hoot. Yeah, 59 Survivor of the VHS. I love me some Zombie Strippers. The DVD version I have is heavily edited. If you know which part, you know which part. Oh, I do remember. Hint, Jenna Jameson. Yeah, there you go. She got the maggots walking around hanging out of her butt. I have, it says it is unrated. Sony release. Thank you. Anyways, right now in the movie I'm not watching, Peter Stormare and Steve Buscemi have just been pulled over. And this is kind of just classic Coen stuff here. Buscemi's being Buscemi, and he's trying to give the cop his wallet to show him his license, but there's a 50 hanging out of it. So he's trying to like bribe the cop. And Stormare's sitting there like a freaking psychopath. He's got like this bleach blonde hair. And Buscemi's got these huge like fake teeth. He looks absurd. So every time he smiles, it looks like a horse. And there's this like cold scene in the middle of the night where this cop that we never even get a good look at, we only see like his stomach in the flashlight, and they end up killing this cop. What like starts the whole everything, the ball rolling. They have Marge Gunderson in the trunk, I believe. They've already gone and kidnapped her. So there's where Stormare shoots the cop right in the head on Buscemi's lap. And we see in his face like he realizes everything is screwed now. Let's see here. Maggot butt. On the flow. So I'm hearing a Zombie Slippers watch party? It may have to happen. Dead. Let me see here. Did you know chicken not shoot K-balls out while they push? Oh, okay. That was you had to speak in code on that one. I was confused by the wording. I got you now. Cue balls, yeah. Jack is on my lap. Well, welcome, Jack. I heard Jack on the midnight hour earlier too. I think it was a fake Jack, though. Oh, yes, Fargo. I have not seen this one in several years. The funny-looking fella. Exactly. That's one of the strange things about this movie is that whenever they describe Buscemi, as they give his description to cops or whatever, he's like, oh, the other fella was kind of funny-looking. Like, what do you mean funny-looking? Like, I don't know. He's just kind of funny-looking. And that is sort of the way you would describe Steve Buscemi, right? It's like, I don't know, he's funny looking. Why? It's like, he's got kind of like bug eyes and he's skinny, but not like weird skinny. I don't know, he's weird looking. He's funny looking. I think that's Buscemi's charm. Grr, grr, Jack. Zombie strippers, baby. He sleeps with Reba's neighbor, LOL. He does. I gave him the message lay and he gave me a kiss. Oh, that's nice. Imposter Jack. Hello. That was so awesome when just Jack popped up. So here, while they're trying to load the cop's dead body into the car with their kidnapped person, somebody drives by and sees what's going on. So Storemare quick hops in the car, peels out, goes chasing after him, and then he goes and kills them. So now this has gone from kidnapping Jerry Lundegaard's wife to a murder of a cop and a murder of two strange people out in the middle of nowhere. And then, of course, Marge Gunderson has to get drugged into all this. God love her. Ping pong is amateur hour compared to the cue ball, for sure. The weight alone. I mean, I don't know, Feldman offshoot, Steve. Yeah, a little bit. Because that is Buscemi's thing, is that he's weird looking, kind of like Peter Lorre, almost. Like I think of him as a modern day Peter Lorre, sort of. Lorre was a bit creepier, but yeah, the crazy bug eyes, the sort of like whimpering demeanor. Like he doesn't feel like a big, strong character. I think probably Con Air is maybe his most impressive, like strength-wise. Well, screw it. Let's find out. Let's do the filmography of Steve Buscemi. Get ready for 3 hours later, Bones, because he has a ton. Steve Buscemi only has 179. I would have thought he would have been well over 200. But he directed 18 things as well. Huh. Look at Buscemi. Good for him. Funny-looking guy. Little guy. He was funny-looking. Oh, he was in The Way It Is in 1985. Parting Glances in 86. Sleepwalk. Not necessarily the news. That was a show that used to be on HBO when I remember it. I think it maybe moved on to like Comedy Channel or something later. But it was it was a predecessor to The Daily Show. It was like a fake news show. Miami Vice. Filmhouse Fever, The Equalizer, Arena Brains, Call Me, Vibes he was in as Fred. If you've ever seen Vibes with Cyndi Lauper and Jeff Goldblum, that's a classic. Heart of Midnight, Lonesome Dove, Slaves of New York, Mystery Train, Monsters, the TV series. I didn't know he did an episode of Monsters. He was John Dennis. King of New York as Test Tube. I didn't know he was in King of New York. I knew he was in Tales from the Dark Side, the movie. He's great in that one. He's in the Lot 249 segment, the one about the mummy. He plays like the bullied college guy. He's really good in it. Miller's Crossing. I love Miller's Crossing. That's an underrated Coen Brothers movie. Lots of cool 40s gangster homage stuff. Barton Fink as Chet. Barton Fink's weird, but cool as hell. Not John Candy. Why am I drawing a blank? I'm talking about Roseanne Barr's husband, not Tom Arnold. Why am I drawing a blank on that dude's name? Oh, forget it. Billy Bathgate, LA Law, Life is North, Reservoir Dogs, John Goodman. I knew I would think of it. Reservoir Dogs, In the Soup. Oh, In the Soup was a big deal for him too. So in '92, he did Reservoir Dogs, In the Soup, Crisscross. And then he did Rising Sun, Tales from the Crypt. So yeah, early 90s, he really blew up. He did Ed and His Dead Mother. If you guys have never seen that one, that's a weird-ass one. There's a guy, Ed, and his mother becomes a zombie and starts eating all like the neighborhood dogs and cats and stuff, and he's got to like control his zombie mother. It's fun. I don't know. I like it. The Hudsucker Proxy, Pulp Fiction, Airheads. He's good in Airheads. That's a weird role for him, but I dig that he's like this Mick Mars looking dude. Like his face looks extra old to be a rocker. Living in Oblivion. Billy Madison is Danny McGrath, uncredited. I do remember him in Billy Madison. Desperado, and his character's name was Buscemi. That's too funny. He was in The Dead Man with Johnny Depp. Things to Do in Denver When You're Dead as Mr. Shh. He's in Fargo. So yeah, really from 95, well, really from like 92 through 95, he could do no wrong. And there's Escape from LA. So there's some wrong for you. Black Kites, Trees Lounge, Con Air. Yeah, Con Air is, I don't know. Big Lebowski's probably my favorite role of his. And then Con Air is right there. He's really good as Garland Green. Armageddon. He's pretty good in Armageddon too. But he's part of an ensemble in that. Well, I guess Con Air is too, but I just feel like he's a bigger character in Con Air. They make him like the evil monster Lecter type guy. Big Daddy is the homeless man. I remember that. That's where he's like, what went wrong or whatever. And he's like, well, first I started eating mushrooms every day, and then I began watching Fantasia. Ghost World. Oh, Ghost World might be his best role, maybe, because that's where he has the most to do and he's really sympathetic and good. Yeah, I don't know. Ghost World might be his best. Either this or Ghost World. Lebowski in the top 5. Monsters, Inc. is Randall. Domestic Disturbance. 13 Moons. Mr. Deeds. Spy Kids 2 and 3. Coffee and Cigarettes. That's a weird Jim Jarmusch movie. It's like an anthology film. He fits right in that. He's in Big Fish. Big Fish is a good movie. It's a bit sappy and sad at times, but it's well made. The Island, Ewan McGregor. The Sopranos, Monster House, Delirious, Charlotte's Web, I Think I Love My Wife, 2 episodes of The Simpsons, Rage, Hotel Transylvania, The Grown-Ups 2, Boardwalk Empire. I've never seen Boardwalk Empire. I need to watch that. That looks good. I've heard nothing but good things, but it's got 56 episodes, so, you know. The Ridiculous Six, Bob's Burgers, Norman, Portlandia, Transformers The Last Night, yuck. Electric Dreams, The Dead Don't Die, that's a crazy one. That's on our Max right now, too, with another Jim Jarmusch deal. Him and Jim Jarmusch must be buddies, I'm assuming. Hotel Transylvania 4, Bupkis, Digman, Miracle Workers, Crapopolis, Curb Your Enthusiasm, and Monsters at Work. 3 hours later. I don't know. What's your favorite Buscemi, guys? It's got to be Ghost World, probably. Maybe Big Lebowski or this. Con Air. It's hard to not go against Con Air. Let's see here. Love him in Con Air as well, but Mr. Pink is tops for me. Yeah, Mr. Pink, you're right. What am I thinking? Mr. Pink is probably the best. I don't know. Ghost World is good, though. He gets to really act in Ghost World, but I think he's most interesting in Reservoir Dogs. So here's where Marge and them go find the body of the dead sheriff. They're called to the scene, and the Brainerd police, and they find the one dead patrol officer or the highway trooper. And then they find the 2 bodies far off. And this is the part where Marge is like bent over. And he's like, did you find a clue? And she's like, nope, I think I'm going to puke. Or I think I'm going to barf. Marge is kind of an amazing character. She's, kind of this ill-equipped police officer. But at the same time, she's almost like a Columbo character. She's like way more equipped than anybody gives her credit for. She's kind of a tiny pregnant woman, and she's a cop in the middle of nowhere, so people underestimate her, but she's pretty badass. But she's not like I don't know, she's sweet. She seems like your neighbor or your mom's friend or something. Like, she's just a nice lady, but she's she's a badass detective. She's super smart. I like how she's encouraging to her husband, who's trying to like paint these pictures of ducks to be on a stamp. So what is your favorite Buscemi movie? There you go. You know it all. Nanette likes Con Air. Put the bunny back in the box. I would totally be Mr. Pink and Reservoir Dogs with these options. I'm not tipping. I don't know. Now that John Goodman, thank you, Lamonia. You had my back on that. I would just go straight to the chat immediately. I don't know what I'm thinking. What about John Goodman? He's in Barton Fink. He's really good in it. Just found Ed and His Mother on VHS. Can't wait to see it. I have that one on VHS as well. I don't think I've ever gotten it on DVD or Blu-ray. I don't think I've ever seen it. I think I was the one who maybe told Bones about it. Somebody I was trying to let him know. Tom was trying to think of his name. Okay, thanks. You guys are explaining everything for you here. You need the clip a few hours later to play when you do the filmography. I do need to get it. You're right. Lebowski for sure. Yeah, Donnie from Lebowski is the most memorable. This in Ghost World, he has the most to do. But I would think probably Armageddon, Con Air, and Reservoir Dogs are like his biggest, most high profile, most people saw him roles, I would think. I don't know. Buscemi's all over the place. He's pretty bad. My issue with Lebowski is that he didn't have enough parts. He was very good at the moment that he was in it. Yeah, he frequently is a background character. He's like the 7th or 8th build guy, you know. Like even in Pulp Fiction, when he turns up, it's kind of a funny gag that, you know, he's Buddy Holly. I've never seen Ghost World. It's good. Most people like it. It's I don't know. I don't know if a lot of like dudes would like. It's not much of a movie. It's kind of a thinky, emotional movie, but it's pretty cool. Hip Hop Anonymous. Hip Hop Anonymous. Enough scenes rather, or speaking parts than it was his character. And Goodman tell him to shut up. Shut up, Donnie. Oh, unfortunately, being named Don, I've had to hear "shut up, Donnie" so many times in my life. It's like, don't call me Donnie. I don't remember him in Big Fish. I don't either, but that's that. I could see him in a movie that big with the ensemble cast. He would probably blend in. Have you seen the clip of the cat saying Long Johnson? Sure have. Oh, Long Johnson. The Dead Don't Die is an iffy movie because of the dry humor. Yeah, it's very dry, and it's got like at one point the characters refer to the song playing on the radio and like, oh, that's the soundtrack for the movie. You know, like it's kind of meta like that. It's bizarre. It's an interesting ride, but you kind of got to be a film lover to love it. And I think most people aren't film lovers like we are, where they can appreciate the meta analysis of it. They probably think it's too weird, and it is weird. Having played the violin through high school and being classic trained, the music in the movie is moving. I miss it. Yeah. Working for the Dream is another movie with powerful music, indeed. I agree, 59th. Edna's Dead Mother, I've only seen on VHS, no other releases ever in my hunts. Yeah, I saw it on cable a long time ago. It used to be on like HBO or Max or whatever they played in there, or Cinemax. They played on the afternoons. And then when I saw it on VHS, you know, when places were phasing out all their VHS and you could buy them so dirt cheap, you know, $1 a piece or $2 for $1, $3 for $1. You know, I ended up picking up Edna's Dead Mother because it was such a quirky, weird one. Close Stop, the sequel. Mikey likes Ghost World. Yeah, Ghost World is good. I like to. Buscemi's best role is in Boardwalk Empire. Welcome, Patrick. Have Cheeto will here. View is here. Welcome, my friend. And he says, hoot, hoot. So you like him in Boardwalk Empire, huh? I've heard he's really good. I've always wanted to watch it, but it's one of those where it's the bulk of the series now intimidates me. We're like, oh, I don't know if I want to spend 3 weeks watching Boardwalk Empire, but I might have to. It's got all the elements of stuff I love. He was good in The Sopranos. Yeah, I do remember his bit in there. He was funny as hell. Hey, Cheetah. Airheads is good. Airheads is weird. Like it's not like the usual Saturday Night Live type movie, but it feels like one of those Saturday Night Live movies. Like the cast is all people you recognize from the other ones, Michael McKean and stuff. But Chris Farley, isn't he in there? Yeah, it's a weird one. That used to be on cable a lot, Airheads. I'm not sure how funny it is, but I think of it in regards as like a funny movie. So I don't know. I may need to watch it again. Hey, LA. Hi, Nance. Everybody's saying hello to each other. So now they've got Jerry Lundegaard's wife. And they've got her at the cabin. It's weird. They made a Fargo TV. Oh, this is hilarious. She tries to run away and she's got a bag over her head and she's like standing in the snow and she looks like a chicken. Like she's got her arms tied behind her head and she's just like pecking around. And then eventually she just falls down and they're laughing at how dumb she is. And it's like a good character moment because it shows like kind of their attitude about what they're doing. But at the same time, it's sad and dark because this poor woman is trying to escape for her life. But it's just kind of funny to watch her dumbass run around in the snow. It's part of the dark comedy of this movie. Airheads, that doesn't count for me. Thank you, Mikey. Very 90s core. The chicken Airheads were great then when I was a teacher. I remember that. Airheads it's a funny plot. It's one of those. I think Harold Ramis is maybe in it as well. Survivor, awesome movie. I don't know if I saw Survivor. Here's where Marge brings her husband lunch, and then with the lunch, she also brings a bag of bait. So they just kind of like are making fun of how down home these folks are, that they just got like a bag of worms sitting there with their Arby's. What is her name? Frances McDormand is, I forget, she was what, married to Joel or Ethan? I believe she's married to Joel, but I could be wrong. I bet it's Ethan. Where's personal life? They just saying teamed up with director Sam Raimi. She works with Raimi. At one point, I think Raimi, the Coen brothers, Frances McDormand, and Holly, what's her name? The one from Raising Arizona. They all lived in the same house together, like when they were starting out in LA, and they they needed roommates or whatever. So they all were housemates. So could you imagine that house? The Coen brothers, Raimi, freaking Frances McDormand. Here they're talking about her early life, personal life. McDormand's married to Joel Coen since '84. In 1995, they adopted a son from Paraguay. Nice. Frances McDormand. Let's see. Oh, here's the part with the where she goes and interviews the two prostitutes, and she's like, the little guy, he's kind of funny looking. And these prostitutes are like perfect casting, because they're not necessarily ugly, but they're not necessarily pretty. They're just sort of women who fell into the prostitution game in Minnesota. Like they look like some chicks you would meet in a bar. Or, oh yeah, I was at the hockey game earlier. Yeah, you betcha. But I do love these bars. Every one of them looks like places I've been to before, with like that plastic dartboard and the like wood panel. A bunch of them have fish or deer up on the wall. No, I was responding to Survivor. I gotcha. I haven't made my movie yet. Love y'all. I got my VHS store goal nailed down. Now I need to make my filming credits. That's the next step. The bigger gal in the neighbor is the show Reba. Oh, okay. Pierce Brosnan, Mila Jovovich, and Dylan McDermott are the three top actors in Survivor when I looked on Google. I don't know if I've seen Survivor. Let me look it up. Mila Jovovich? Pierce Brosnan, James Darcy, Robert Forster, 2015 action spy thriller by James McTeague and written by Philip Shelby. I've never heard of Survivor, I don't think. It's holy crap, it's an 8% on Rotten Tomatoes. Let's see what it is at. 32% by the audience. I may have to check out Survivor. It sounds interesting to me now. Mila, that is what I remember. Yes, I love her in Black Swan. Dazed and Confused. Yeah, for sure in that. So here Marge and her husband are laying in bed watching TV, and it fades to black at the 48-minute mark, and there's 49 minutes left. So there's your midway point of the movie. It faded to black on. Almost all fade to blacks usually means something. Sometimes it's somebody getting knocked out and they use it as like a passing out effect, but generally it's an act break or some sort of like scene break. So here, the exact pretty much midway part of the movie. Speaking of midway part of the movie, it's 49:08, 49:09, 49:10 on the old timestamp. She was in that movie. A fun movie, internet. Yeah, I like Dazed and Confused. I was saying once before, it's a hangout movie. I like a lot of hangout movies. You you meet these people and you just kind of go on like a minor adventure, but really you're just sort of hanging out with them. Clerks is a hangout movie, Mallrats, American Graffiti, um, Slacker. You ever see Slacker? That's a good hangout movie. So here Marge gets a phone call in the middle of the night from her high school boyfriend, and he wants to meet her, and she kind of agrees too. And you wonder, like, is Marge going to cheat on her husband, or what the deal is with that? And then she goes and meets him, and this guy is like just a fallen apart basket case. You can tell like he got divorced and everything's not going right for him. So he called his old high school girlfriend, and he's like, "Oh, you're such a nice lady." That's like his classic line. Dazed and Confused. She was young in that one, pre-Resident Evil. I love her in Resident Evil. Yeah, that's like the main stuff I think of her. That and Ultraviolet. Apocalypse Now is a hangout movie. Yeah, in a weird kind of way. Kind of way, I suppose. There you go. Great soundtrack. Yeah, Dazed and Confused has one of the better soundtracks. I love Slacker. Yeah, Slacker's a weird one, but it's fun. That's Richard Linklater, same as Dazed and Confused, same writer director. That was the classic. I always talk about how directors will make something for nothing. They'll make like a movie that's really small, and then they'll add a whole bunch of they'll get a whole bunch of money and make a second movie that's bigger. So yeah, I felt like Slacker was his first kind of known film, and then later on, when that got famous, he was able to make Dazed and Confused, which is a more toned down version of Slacker, but still pretty damn good. Coppola's is a genius at involving the audience, and agreed. Yeah, that's part of his. I mentioned Apocalypse Now when Mikey was talking about it there. Like, yeah, that and Godfather, and when you just think about the way you sit around and hang out with the people. Even Godfather is strangely sort of a hangout movie. You get to like spy on this bizarre lives of these people you would never get a look at. You just described Darren Aronofsky's career. Yeah, a bunch of hangout films and stuff. Aronofsky makes a lot of like bizarre, like I don't know. I always think of Pi, and then that was a good example of someone who makes a movie for nothing, and then they get money to make bigger movies. Pi was probably the first Aronofsky movie I saw, black and white, weird. So here, Jerry is he's trying to convince his father-in-law to invest in this parking lot deal because he's indebted to money and everything, and he's trying to get this seed money to get this parking lot thing run together. And then he's also got his wife getting kidnapped, so he's like totally involved in like multiple plots at once. And it's part of the confusing nature of seeing this the first time. So here we're at a buffet, and you see the Midwestern buffet of just everything deep fried. There's fish, there's chicken, there's meatballs. So I'm assuming they're like some sort of like old country buffet type place or whatever. Another movie I think of as a hangout movie is Point Break. Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's supposed to be the whole thing where he's like cracking the code of who is the dead presidents or whatever, but really it's just an excuse for Keanu to go hang out with Patrick and his cool weird buddies, the thrill seeker crew. Pie, mustard pie. I don't know about mustard pie, and especially never mind. I was going to make a dirty joke. I kept it to myself. Let's see. Great point. The replay value goes up each time watching this one. For sure. Echo is spamming in the chat. Call the cops. Yeah, that's the problem with Coen Brothers movies is the problem and the great thing about them. The first time you watch them, you're burdened with the plot. I always use that expression. Like you have to figure out what's going on and try to see where the end is playing to. So a movie like this leaves a lot of people almost unsatisfied because it's very like melancholy the whole way through. There is the famous scene at the end with the wood chipper. We'll talk about that when we get to it. But other than that, the movie itself plays very like even. I say it's a good curl up with a blanket movie because there's not a lot of loud explosions and there's lots of scenes of snow blowing and stuff. So I feel like the first time you watch it, you're sort of burdened with the plot and figuring out what's going on and trying to make sense of everything. And is this all going to work out for who? And then it ends sort of just, oh, ho hum. The first time I saw this, I actually enjoyed A Simple Plan better than this. But then after watching this over and over and over, this one grew on me way more, and I appreciate the dialogue and the acting performances. Although I do need to watch A Simple Plan again. That's a good ass movie. Lay, it is Queen Echo. Oh, that's right. I apologize, Her Majesty, Her Highness. He's on a kick about mustard tonight, Don. He's on a kick about mustard every night. Poor Mayanne, Mustard Ann. Cold weather movie. Yeah, for sure this is. That's actually what made me want to watch it tonight. Survivor is really good. Oh, see, everybody in the chat is saying Survivor's good and worth checking out. It did bad on the in the ratings, but I'm interested. Video Tasties. Welcome, Gareth. Nice to see you here, buddy. Good morning. Gareth yesterday was talking about the old TV show Sledgehammer. Do you guys remember that show? Like out of everybody in his chat, pretty much only he and I were really familiar with it. A handful of other folks were, mildly familiar, but it was like a kind of a ripoff of Naked Gun or Police File or whatever, Police Squad or whatever it was called. But it had like a Dirty Harry lead character. So the guy's answer was always like, big guns and everything. I think it was on ABC for like one season, but it was funny that Gareth, a guy on another side of an ocean, is the one talking about it. Nobody here cares about Sledgehammer, but I do, Gareth. Gosh bless you. Nothing legal about you. Oh, she's on you. Echo, you kind of got a point, man. You need to curtsy more. You need to get a cape. Echo needs a cape. Howdy, Tasties. Pierce Brosnan and Milo are great. Yeah, I've never seen Survivor. I've never heard of it until now. So, never heard of that show. Hi, Nanette. Oh, Sledgehammer. Yeah, it was an '80s one. Like I say, it was sort of a heavy-duty parody of like Dirty Harry or something. I think what do you call it? Brooklyn Nine-Nine is probably a close comparison. Maybe, I don't know. I haven't watched much Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So here's another one of these scenes of just a big empty parking lot, and like the snow is completely covered. And there are these this one's a great one. It's got this huge depth to it. The Coens always have like amazing visuals in their movies. And we see Buscemi pull up to do get the money out of this car. And the car he's supposed to pick up, that was part of the deal of the kidnapping, is that he was going to get an extra car to use. So he's stealing the license plate from one in this old parking lot to put on his new car, so the police won't find him. But the wide shot of the snow and everything just looks so amazing. And here's where Buscemi pulls into the lot and steals the license plate, and then he tries to pull out, and he gets into an argument with the parking lot attendant. He's like, I decided not to park here. He's like, so I still got to charge you. And he's like, yeah, but I decided not to park here. So the movie wastes a minute of just these two arguing about whether or not he should have to pay for parking he didn't use. It's like good character informing stuff, but it's also just like, a weird wasted minute. I remember the name of that show, but I don't think I saw it. Yeah, I have a couple comic books. I think Marvel maybe did them. I remember it was like they tried to make it a thing. They tried to make it a big deal, but it was weird. The lead guy in it was oh God, I can't even think of his name. He was in a bunch of stuff. Sledgehammer TV show. David Rash. What you been in, David Rash? He Sledgehammer, About My Father, Bingo, In the Loop, Blue Eyes, Secession, That Old Feeling, Just Married, An Innocent Man. Anyways, that's enough of David Rash. But we should probably talk about the films of Frances McDormand since she's on here. Here's where she's interviewing Shep. They have this weird Native American character mixed in here, which is funny because you think of like Minnesota and especially North Dakota in this area as being very white. So to mix in the lead of the movie is a pregnant woman, and here she is interviewing a Native American, and there's all this strange diversity mixed in with it. But everybody else is just white as white can be. You betcha. I didn't remember that show. I don't think I saw it. Watermelons with Gallagher. I do love when Gallagher would smash a watermelon. Where were we with Frances McDormand? Where's her filmography? Oh no, that's not going to work. Let's see here. She was in. How many credits does Frances McDormand have? I bet 150. 69. Nice. But it looks like she did the usual indie films mixed in with the occasional big movie to make money. So she was on Blood Simple. That was her big deal role. Scandal Sheet, Hill Street Blues, Crime Wave, Spencer for Hire, Twilight Zone remake in '86, not the movie. Vengeance, The Story of Seymour, Raising Arizona as Dot. Yeah, she's funny in that. She's the like woman who's like she's the mother of a bunch of kids. She plays like kind of a dope. Mississippi Burning, Chattahoochee, Dark Man. Yeah, she's good in Dark Man. Miller's Crossing, Barton Fink, The Butcher's Wife, Crazy in Love, Shortcuts. Do you guys ever see Shortcuts? It's this Robert Altman movie. It's like 9 hours long. It's freaking ridiculous. Beyond Rangoon. I love those crabs they have from there. Palookaville, Fargo, Lone Star, Primal Fear. Primal Fear is a good movie. Hidden in America, Paradise Road, Johnny Skidmarks, Time to Do Laundry. Madeline, Talk of Angels, Wonder Boys, Almost Famous. That makes sense. Upheaval, Laurel Canyon, City by the Sea, North Country, Aeon Flux. Oh, there you go. The Simpsons, Burn After Reading. Yeah, we mentioned that one earlier. She's in a bunch of the Coen movies. Geez. Transformers, Dark of the Moon. The Good Dinosaur, Hail Caesar. 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. I never saw that. People were divided on it. Some folks said it was like powerful and moving, and other people said it was kind of stupid and overly simplistic. Nomadland, a lot of people love that. She got a lot of acclaim for that one, like about people who live on the road. Women Talking, The Tragedy of Macbeth. So that is Frances McDormand. Gosh bless her. I need to get up around 6. I'm finally feeling tired, so I'm going to go at this point. It'll nap better than nothing. I'll talk to you later and have a good rest of your stream. Good night, everybody. Good night, Nanette and Jack. I thank you guys for being here. It's not a party unless Nanette and Jack are here. So thank you, Nan. Yeah, here's where she goes and meets the old high school boyfriend. And he's like, oh, hi. You're such a nice lady. Later than that, Raising Arizona, one of the first ones I remember watching on VHS. Yeah, that was one I didn't know what the hell it was going to be. I just heard it was called Raising Arizona. And that's one of the best ways to watch a movie is when you have no idea what's going to happen. And it just sort of unfolded in front of me. And the first time I saw it, I was way confused. I understood it was funny, but I didn't really understand why or anything. But then, yeah, by the second, third, fourth, 15th viewing. So what makes you think you're a woman trapped in a man's body? Well, I get the menstrual cramps real hard. Classic Raising Arizona. Why did you change your name from Huff Hines to Arizona? Because would you buy furniture from a place called Unpainted Huff Hines? Well, what was the suspect or what was the kidnapped victim wearing? His jammies. I don't know. They had Yodas and shit on them. The World According to Garp. My dad always watched that one. Yeah, I liked The World According to Garp when I was a kid. That was a weird one, along with Raise Arizona. World According to Garp was another on cable all the time. It was kind of like a pre-Forrest Gump or something. It was like a weird biopic of a fictional character, and you like watched their fictional life play out and all the weird twists and turns of a life. You know, when you live multiple decades, you start to see, you know, different twists and turns, and that's what those movies put out. Forrest Gump, Garp, Benjamin Button, you know. So this part is actually super interesting. It has nothing to do with the movie, as usual. She goes and meets her high school boyfriend, and he's like, you know, running his spiel, and she basically senses he's trying to like get hooked up, right? And he feeds her all these lines about, you know, like I believe his wife passed away, and then later on she finds out that he's divorced, and then her realizing that he's a liar makes her think that Jerry Lundegaard could be a liar, and that's what makes her go back and re-interview him again. So this scene informs the movie, but it seems kind of pointless. And they're at a cool like hotel bar. God, I love a good Bennigan's. Great description. A pre-Forrest Gump. I see the connections. Yeah, just the weird like fictional life. You know, when I was born, it was like this, and we were in this war, and then by the time I was at this age of my life, we were, you know, the world had changed in this way, and the people looked at the world like this, and then you know, society shifted this way, and I met this woman, and it broke my heart, and we had kids, and it's just all a fictional life, but it's fascinating sometimes if it's told well, especially if you kind of make the connections to history, like the people in a historical time evolve as does their history around them or society around them. Oh, let's see here. This movie was such a big success that they adapted it into a Fargo TV series. It was 5 seasons or 4 seasons? I think it's 4 seasons, and they're making a 5th, maybe. The 5th season primarily must go to. Oh yeah, I didn't see the 5th season. But I did see the first 4. Season 1 has Billy Bob Thornton as the Buscemi character, basically. Like it's a bizarro retelling. FX and Hulu, they're good for these, where they take something but then they tell a bizarre like redoing of it. They do that with the Stephen King one, Castle Rock. They take the essence of Coen brothers and they just make a show out of it. So it's about Fargo, this movie, but it's also about Lebowski, and it's also about Raising Arizona and Blood Simple and Barton Fink and all these. The first one, Billy Bob Thornton, Colin Hanks, and Martin Freeman. It won Emmys for Outstanding Miniseries, Outstanding Directing, Outstanding Casting, 15 additional nominations. So yeah, it was a big, huge deal, particularly because Billy Bob Thornton was doing TV and was doing such a good job at it. But then in the second season, that's the one with Kirsten Dunst and Jesse Plemons, and they have kind of a kidnapping plot, which is similar to the one that's in this. And then in the third season is Ewan McGregor, and he plays twins. He plays himself. And it's like a really interesting, how two brothers grow up, and one becomes kind of a loser and the other one's kind of a big winner, and the way they, treat each other and everything. And then the fourth season I really enjoyed. It was like this about like Kansas City mobsters. But the thing with the series is each season sort of connects in a weird way, like it all ties together. So this one goes back, part 4, season 4 goes from back to the 50s, and they talk about like the Kansas City mob, and Chris Rock plays a mobster in it. He's really good as a mobster. I was surprised at his performance in that. But Fargo was one of those things I didn't want to watch because it was like, they made Fargo a TV show? That sounds awful. Like I've never seen the Snatch TV show or anything. I never watched Lethal Weapon, the TV show, But for some reason, Fargo got my attention, and it's great. I recommend it. She shouldn't have won No Man's Land. Did she win any awards for that in No Man's Land? I didn't know that. I know she was nominated a lot, but that was one. I think it was kind of an acting tour de force for her. Especially that's also one where after a person like McDormand has been around for a while, the Oscars will give them an Oscar. Like we kind of owe you for this one because you didn't win all these other times when you should have. Let me see here. Bennigan's. That is Butter's favorite place to eat in South Park. Colorado Savage went pretty bad in the 2000s. Yeah, Bennigan's was, they had them around here when I was a kid. I went to a Bennigan's once. It was the first time I ever had spinach pasta noodles, and I was weird. I was like, why are Bennigan's noodles green? I've never seen Nomadland. I've heard all about it, but I need to check it out. It looks like one of those movies that would be heavy. Like it looks like a even sadder version of Into the Wild. Let me know in the chat or the comments if you guys have ever seen the Fargo TV series, and if you thought it was better or worse than the movie. I'd say the bulk of the series is probably better than this movie as a standalone, but this movie's kind of amazing on its own. Another great shot. They're meeting up on a parking garage up on the roof. And much like in Lebowski, there's the money handoff for the kidnapping. This and Lebowski are very similar in weird ways with the whole kidnapping plot and then the like different characters who mess it up and just how bad things get all screwed up. So here Buscemi's fighting with the father-in-law, and he's snapping about how the guy's not following instructions. And you realize like Buscemi's basically feckless. Like as a criminal, he's not the thug and the tough guy he wishes he was. You know, so he pulls out a gun and he shoots the father-in-law. It was kind of a cool shot. You see the down of his coat come flying out all slow. But then the father pulls out a gun and shoots Buscemi in the side of his face. Something about getting shot in the face always seems so much worse than all other injuries. I think mainly because movies make you think you can survive from like an arm or a leg shot. You know, most people know you can't survive from anything in the torso or the head, but in the face, like just getting shot in the cheek or whatever, it always makes me feel messed up. They ordered two traumas and one synapse, which has been the one I've been for a long time and waiting to be on sale. Oh, you got a good deal on some the MVD sale. There are two traumas and one synapse. What traumas did you get? And is May going to be happy with them? So I was saying this whole scene took place on a parking garage up on the roof. One of the things you do in movies often, people everywhere always end up on the damn roofs of places. It opens it up for scope, right? So like when you have two people talking, like instead of me sitting here right now in a room, it'd be much better if I had like a huge skyline behind me and everything, because there would be something interesting and non-distracting to look at, but still causing lights and stuff. So instead of having two characters interact in a room or somewhere where no one can see them, you usually take it somewhere where it looks big and it looks cool. So movies always end up on roofs. Like people in movies spend way more times on roofs than normal people do. So here Buscemi, after being shot in the face, is trying to leave the parking garage, and the guy going to take his ticket, there's like a funny exchange because we know Buscemi will argue over the parking ticket. He's like bleeding from the face. So yeah, this scene up here where they shot the father, it's up on top of a parking garage. So you can see all these buildings around it. And it feels like it's more wide open and like a better view, even though it's just downtown Minnesota, I'm assuming they're probably, well, I'm guessing they're in Brainerd, but this looks like it would be like in St. Paul, Minneapolis or something. There we see Buscemi killed shot the parking attendant guy because he wasn't having it anymore. Roof movies, West Side Story. Yeah, favorite roof movie. I would have to say The Room. The Room has a classic people going up to the roof. Lots of movies in New York take place up on the roof. Weekend at Bernie's, they got a whole section where they're up on the roof, like with their feet in the tub. And I think especially in places like big, huge cities, you can't really get down on the ground. And even if you did, it wouldn't look as impressive. But if you shoot up on a roof and you can sort of see the skyline, it looks impressive in any shot. And it adds tone to the movie. It's like you feel like you're in the city when you see all those other buildings. You feel like you're just one small story in a bunch of millions of stories. So here Macy comes home and he realizes that the handoff for his wife, like he thought his wife was coming back, but no, everything's screwed. We are at the 1:13:45 mark. So 1 hour, 13 minutes, 50 seconds. And this all is way too real for me, where he's driving down these suburban streets and everybody's shoveling, and then the ground is wet, but the snow is piled up. Yeah, this looks like 2 months ago. Yeah, the big paper mill next to somebody's house. Do you know what those things stink like? there, and he's talking about how he overheard Buscemi at a bar, and he's like, oh, he's kind of funny looking. Once again, super convoluted. Lebowski and this, to a certain extent, are both kind of like old Dashiell Hammett plays or stories. There were a lot of them. Back in the 40s and 50s, they used to make these like really complicated, speaking of hangout movies, they would make these complicated like crime dramas like The Maltese Falcon or The Big Sleep. And basically the whole point was just hanging out with Humphrey Bogart or hanging out with some cool detective, like it wasn't really about the plot. I don't even still know what the hell the Maltese Falcon's about. It's like, we're trying to recover a falcon. Okay. But the movie itself is just like going from place to place and meeting cool people and like seeing how they live and how they talk and watching them interact with each other and stuff. But there's very little like plot development. Like, oh no, they've got the Maltese Falcon. We got to get in that car and chase them or whatever. Like, and that's how this movie has. Like, there's only like one instance of a car like chase, and the rest is all just like quick murders that move on real fast and just feel kind of cold. Well, let's see here. Let's see the work of Peter Stormare. Stormare is a crazy actor. I think this is probably maybe the first time I've seen him. That'd be interesting. What's he most known for? Fargo, The Brothers Grimm, Armageddon, and Constantine. I'd say most people probably know him from Constantine, maybe. I don't know. This he's pretty famous for. Armageddon is the crazy guy on the who's lost his mind up there is pretty good too. Peter Stormare has how many do you think? 200? 207. So he's the first one to get over 200 in a while. Uh-oh, be prepared for a few hours later. He was in Her Bar Du Dig at Minashka in 1978. He was in Studenten in 1982. Salams in 79. Spanarna in 83. Hapnad Svatkatarna in 83. Fanny and Alexander. And then Sepan, Den Frusna Leparden, Boomerang, but the U, not with an O. Maal Parater, there's an umlaut over the first A, but not the third one. Traapatanurna, there's an umlaut over the first A. Frandidoda, I don't even know what that accent's called. What's the little circle where it looks like it's thinking? Awakenings, Freud Leaves Home, Riflessi in un cielo oscuro, and that's in 91. He was in Back in Turna in 93, More Sarvet in 93. So he's pretty much doing outside of the country stuff, and then he does Fargo in 96. And then Le Polygraph, Et Sorts Hades, then back to America for Lost World Jurassic Park. Playing God, that's an interesting one, with David Duchovny. In the Presence of a Clown, then Big Lebowski in 98, where he played Nihilist number 1, Uli Kunkel, and Carl Hungus. So he gets 3 credits for Lebowski. That's awesome. He was in Hamilton, Mercury Rising, Somewhere in America, Seinfeld, Armageddon, Purgatory, 8mm. Oh yeah, he was in 8mm as Dino Velvet. That's my new alias. Hi, I'm Dino Velvet. He was in The $1 Million Hotel, Bruiser Circus, Dancer in the Dark, Chocolat, Happy Campers, Hamilton, Moons, Bad Company, Beetle Fan, Wind Talkers, Minority Report. Oh yeah, he plays the doctor that messes with Tom Cruise's eyes. He was in Spun as Mullet Cop. Man, he's got good credits. The Tuxedo, that's not a good credit. Bad Boys 2, that's not a good credit. Birds of Mercenaries, Constantine. I liked him in Constantine. And then he's in 2001 Maniacs with Robert Englund. The Brothers Grimm. Batman versus Dracula as the voice of Dracula. Oh, wow. Batman versus Dracula is really good. If you're into those cartoon movies, the Warner Brothers DC ones, yeah, I recommend Batman versus Dracula. It's a good Halloween one, I think. One Night with You, Prison Break, 22 episodes on Prison Break, huh? CSI, Gone with the Woman, Animorph, Echo. He was in a movie called Echo. Simon's Far, Varg, Boot Camp, Insanitarium, Mercenaries 2, Orgies and the Meaning of Life, damn straight. Gnomes and Trolls, The Killing Room, Horsemen, Entourage. I never saw Horsemen. It's like I think it's a serial killer movie. Entourage, Convict, Sillerod, Weeds, Henry's Crime, Hawaii Five-O, Dylan Dog, The Way Shower, Marianne, False Trial, Inseparable, Standard Story, Leverage, Get the Gringo, Lockout, Body of Proof, Big Top Scooby-Doo as Wolfric von Riksvengard, Hansel and Gretel, Witch Hours, Bad Milo, Zero Theorem, Autumn Blood, Sperm Boat, Hi, Rage, 22 Jump Street, Destiny, 11th Hour, The Blacklist, Clown. He was in Clown. I didn't know that. Arrow, Until Dawn, Graceland, Rupture, King of the Dance Hall, Midnight Sun, John Wick Chapter 2, because of course he is. Black Widows, Kill 'Em All, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the TV series. Destiny 2, Longmire, Swedish Dicks. Assassin's Code, Beyond the Sky, Get Shorty TV series. So there's another TV series that doesn't sound good to me at all. Actually, I heard Get Shorty was all right. Snatch, not so much. The Poison Rose, Briar Patch, Teen Titans Go, Animaniacs, Songbird, Crypto Zoo, American Gods. We were talking about that the other night. That's a good show. The Box, Chivalry, Day Shift, 1923, The Ritual Killer, Elder Scrolls Online, Necrom. He did the voice of King Joran. So damn you, Peter Stormare, you be working. Wow. 3 hours later. Oh, let's see where we're at with these folks in the chat. In the movie that I'm not watching, right now, Jerry Lundegaard and Marge Gunderson are having their face off. Like I say, Marge kind of figures out that Jerry's a liar. So here she's realizing like how abrupt he's being, and she's kind of like getting annoyed with him. And the two of them are doing like this really nice, like Minnesota niceness, but they're also arguing and like being contentious with one another. It's like, oh, I don't know what you mean. Well, I think you know exactly what I mean. Well, sir, you don't have to go snippy with me. I'm just doing my job here. Like the way they go about everything with a very polite, friendly way of being and like a big smile on their face. Oh, let's see here. The Children and Decapitated. Oh, is that your famous Stormare? First one to come to mind, or Fiddler on the Roof. Tombs of the Blind Dead on Blu-ray has been one I've been waiting to be on sale. Oh, Tombs of the Blind. Tombs of the Blind Dead. I've never seen Tombs of the Blind Dead. Playing God was something that stuck out for me too. Yeah, Stormare in that. I don't know if I remember him. I for sure remember him in 8mm. Some Aphex Twin music up in that one. 8mm was a crazy ride. I think it was trying to kind of maybe be like Seven, like, or at least coast off of the success of Seven, but it's a different kind of weird movie. Cage plays so like emotionally troubled in it the whole time, like biting his knuckle and stuff. It's almost like a weird remake of oh god, what's it? Stag, I think it's called, with George C. Scott, like where his girlfriend or his daughter goes missing and then he sees her in a porno movie or whatever. Bad Boys had a sequel. Oh, Will Smith. Yeah, they have a new sequel coming out because of the NBA playoffs. I see commercials for the new Bad Boys movie constantly. I like Bad Boys 1 enough, but not enough for part 2. And everybody else loved part 2, and I was like, I'm done with these. Sorry, guys. The movie Echo is part of the Echo family. We're everywhere. Just look around. Now we all are here. Well, the Echo travels. Echo. So there, Jerry steps outside for a second when he's being interviewed by Marge, and he sees that she sees him get in the car and drive away. And she's like, oh, he's fleeing the interview. And she just acts like kind of simple, but at the same time, she's doing everything by the book and real smart. So now we're back at the cabin where they're holding Jerry's wife hostage, and we see Stormare and his long johns sitting around watching old. I can't tell if it's a soap opera or what, but it's starring Bruce Campbell. Like I said, Sam Raimi and all these people were friends at an early age in Hollywood. So these folks turn up in a lot of each other's stuff. So they intentionally kind of put that little funny Sam Raimi cameo in there. And here Buscemi busts in and he's holding a napkin to his face because he's been shot in the face. So he comes in, he's bleeding from the face, his mouth full of blood, and he's got the cash in his hand, and he sees that the kidnap victim is knocked out, and he's like, "Yeesh," and just goes back to what he's talking about. Like, he has no care for the humanity around him. That's like part of the charm of his awfulness. Like Echo the Dolphin on Sega CD. I do remember Echo the Dolphin. Yes, Broski, it has that 7 vibe. Yeah, for sure. I love 7. Well, I think 7 was such a success. Like, that's usually what happens when a movie gets success, it makes a lot of money. Movies that are similar to it get greenlit. Like, they might have even been sitting around as a script for years and years, but once something is successful and proves it can make money, oh God, Hollywood loves to just be like, okay, quick, greenlit that thing. That's what people like now. Do something like that. So, like, I'm waiting for more things like Barbie. Like, I don't know what that's going to be, but I'm just imagining that we're getting ready to head into a Barbie ripoff phase in like a year. That movie's ending messed up for a month. Still afraid of using FedEx or receiving. Yeah, right, for sure. So here, Buscemi and Stormare get into a fight, and Buscemi's going to leave. And we see Buscemi walking away from the house, and Stormare comes up behind him in this awesome shot, and he just hits him with an axe, like straight up axe movie murder. And they cut to black. And then Marge figures out where they are. And when she gets there, Stormare's stuffing the bodies in a wood chipper, and it's blowing blood all over the snow. It's one of the most memorable scenes of this movie. It's like so mundane until we get to the wood chipper scene. There's a few moments of like just gross violence, but especially like Buscemi getting shot in the face. But the wood chipper, I think that's the chef's kiss of it all. If you're a fan of this and you're watching now, or you're watching or you'll later in the comments, let me know how many times it took for you to watch Fargo before you loved it. Some people love it on the first watch, but most people come back with it's so weird. But that's kind of the Coen brothers thing. I don't know who would watch Barton Fink or Hudsucker Proxy and be like, oh yeah, it's a perfectly normal movie. It's like, no, it's weird as hell. That's what they do. Bruce Campbell is the Surgeon General in Escape from L.A. Yeah, I do remember that. He's recognized, but you sort of recognize him. Like he's the the doctor for the. That's the joke. Like everybody in LA's had plastic surgery, so in the future, like everybody's gonna have super plastic surgery, and he's like this crazy kind of like Dr. Frankenstein kind of guy. Isn't Pam Grier a woman who used to be a dude in that? I think. Or whatever the proper terminology is for that. I'm sorry. I was in the middle of watching the wood chipper scene, so I don't mean to be non-PC while I'm in the mild awe. Not a lot of heroes in movies with flap ears, you know. I think Elmer Fudd kind of ruined that for everybody. It makes you look dumb. Same with Bill Murray in Caddyshack. Big Carl Spengler hat. So she's walking through the woods, slowly creeping up, and we get the reveal of there it is, the wood chipper scene, just blood blazing machine, just blowing all over the snow, painting it red. But here's this small woman who's pregnant with a gun, and she's going to stop Peter Stormare. It's cool because it gives her like a, I am woman, hear me roar kind of feminist empowerment thing, but it also makes you like worry about her. It's like, oh, I hope she's okay. I want her and the baby to be all right. It adds a little bit of tension to her safety. It's good, good plotting, good character building. So there we see a foot with a white athletic sock sticking out of the wood chipper. And she tries to tell him, hands up, hands up. And he can't hear because the wood chipper's going on. So she's like, there, and Stormare runs out on this icy lake, and it's frozen and snowy. So we get another huge, like almost Lawrence of Arabia style, like wide open vista of just like woods and snow. This movie like gives you a chill watching it. Yeah, I would say similar movie is probably A Simple Plan. If you've seen that, that's a really good one. I enjoy it. But this is more fun or interesting or something. It's got more depth to it than A Simple Plan. A Simple Plan is just a really well made like thriller. But this has got like I don't even know. I don't even know what they're trying to say with this movie. I think ultimately they're trying to say that there's all this like Midwestern niceness and friendly and oh yeah, you betcha. I know if you just be nice and da da da. But there's all the same amount of like awful murder and gruesomeness that there is everywhere all around the world. But it's just interesting to see how these folks handle it. Tombs of the Blind Dead is an old 1972 movie from Spain. The first two are really good. The third and the fourth one, not that bad. But the 2021 Blind Dead movie, which is garbage. Never heard of Tombs of the Blind Dead. Interesting. Ken getting his own sequel, I would assume. Yeah, I would think that would probably happen. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if I don't know, are there other properties out there that you could do that do similar kind of girl power type movie too? There's the big Paul Bunyan statue while they're pulling into Brainerd, and they often use that for like the artwork of the movie and stuff. The giant Babe the Blue Ox and Paul Bunyan. And this is where Marge kind of gives her soliloquy at the end to Peter Stormare, like, why'd you have to do that? You know, it's a beautiful day. Can't you just be happy? You betcha. Another huge snowy vista waiting for the cops to come pick up Stormare. I just don't understand it. Wow, lots of like just slow close-ups, like just let Marge's face sit there and let you like read her disappointment and like this all these people and all that's gone on around her. Like she doesn't really even need to emote. She's just sort of like soaking it all in. But for a dark comedy, that's a really like heavy dramatic scene. Super cool though. Now we're in Bismarck, North Dakota. Yeah, like I said, this movie jumps back and forth between Minnesota and North Dakota a lot. So here's where they catch up with Jerry, and they knock on the door and they're like, Mr. Anderson? And he's like, Jerry who? So he's at this like looks like small little dive motel off the highway, and they catch him trying to go out the window. So the bad guys have been caught, and Jerry didn't get away. Still hasn't sold any undercoating. That True Coat, you need it. So they're arresting Macy. It's funny because he's like wrestling with them, and they're not like pistol whipping. And then here's where she wraps up. Marge gets into bed with her husband. I think he explains that his duck finished like second or whatever. He was trying to paint the next stamp. He gets the 3-cent stamp. The Mallard does. Good for him. Such a crazy, weird, like loose end because they want the story to end on some sort of happiness because a bunch of people got murdered and William H. Macy's life is ruined and his, the father-in-law got killed, the wife got killed, Steve Buscemi got killed, Stormare's locked up. So to end on some sort of happy note, they make it where the husband tells her, like, hey, I got on the 3-cent stamp. And she's like, that's great. And there's like this happy sense of like accomplishment. I'm so proud of you, Norm. Norm, we're doing pretty good. I love you, Margie. I love you too, Norm. It's so mundane, but there's all this like evil craziness going on in there too. The version of this story told in the Fargo show, probably good, but pretty good. There it is, fade to black. Wow, they're taking a minute for credits to come up. Yep, there it is. If you liked Fargo, you may also like Pulp Fiction, Boardwalk Empire, Office Space, interesting. Nathan For You, Goodwill Hunting, Gangs of New York. They will push Gangs of New York on everything. Killing Them Softly, Parasite, Blood Simple. Okay, so Blood Simple's on Max, and A Serious Man is on Max. I'm going to go ahead and add that to my queue right now. American Gangster, The Ides of March. I've never seen that with Clooney and Gosling. I've always wanted to. Her with Joaquin Phoenix. I could see that. That's a bizarre kind of relationship movie. Lost in Translation, another like slow burn that a lot of people just don't get or don't appreciate because of how slow it is or how the open ending makes people think. But I love Lost in Translation. It's one of my faves. Get Shorty, Good Time, I, Tonya. I could definitely see I, Tonya, especially with the like North Dakota, Minnesota stuff. The Lobster. Yeah, I could see that. Another weird one. Leaving Las Vegas. That's pretty heavy. The Lighthouse. Speaking of heavy. Casablanca? Really? I don't know about that. Wonderland, I can see. Wonderland's like a convoluted whole like murder mystery thing. It's basically Boogie Nights, John Holmes, murder deal, except it's done in like a Rashomon style. It's really kind of cool. You see the story from 3 different points of view. It's fun. Flight with Denzel, The Edge with Anthony Hopkins and Alec Baldwin. The French Connection, 2001: A Space Odyssey. Why that? Eastern Promises, I could totally see that. That's got like mobster stuff in it, and it's got like an underlying plot, but then there's also gangsta stuff. And A Fistful of Dollars, that makes zero sense to me. I have no idea why they would say that's something you should check out, but they do. I'm in the chat. You could clip out just a few minutes and mild. Yeah, good. You could probably take out 1 or 2 violent scenes. It would be a very like just humdrum, melancholy sort of detective story. But the little moments of violence or the little like jolts of like scary, I don't know, seedy underbelly of society is really good. Cinematography made this, music made this movie epic for the first view. Again, I haven't played the violin. I was drawn into the soundtrack. Pam Grier, yep, the dude looks like a lady in Escape from LA. Yeah. Yeah, this one's a wild one. It's like I say, I'm gonna probably watch a bunch of the Coen brothers eventually on this channel because I'm such a fan of their films. This one is one of their less visually spectacular ones, especially compared to like Lebowski or Raising Arizona. But this one, it has such a tone to it, that the same tone they achieve almost in No Country for Old Men. It feels like all of a same, story throughout, and it just, I don't know, the way it feels like a song, So I think it was good for Frances McDormand. She obviously got a lot out of it with her career. Is there anybody else we want to check on in the no, pretty much everybody else. We went through all the filmographies. We went through the ratings. We went through the budget and the box office. I think overall, I think we did pretty good. Let's see what the critical response for Fargo '96 was. Reception. The review aggregating Rotten Tomato holds it at 94%. Yada, yada, yada. Violent, quirky, and darkly funny, Fargo delivers an original crime story and a wonderful performance by McDormand. Universal acclaim, air quotes. McDormand's uproariously sly, spry performance connects with Roger Deakins' bleakly beautiful photography to create one of Coen's most consistently successful outings, albeit one that plays it even closer to the vest than usual. For a current movie that simply effervesces with the macabre, wow, big word, that simply effervesces with the macabre, you check out The Young Poisoner's Handbook for a nifty bit of nastiness from 2 of our most dependably provocative filmmakers. Fargo will fill the bill. Yeah, that sounds overly wordy for no reason. After some superb Mannerist films, excuse me. The Coens are back in this deadpan realist territory of Blood Simple, but with all the cinematic elan. Why do film critics want to use all these fancy words no one else uses? Conversely, Janet Maslin in the New York Times deemed Fargo much more stylish and entertaining than Blood Simple. Yeah, I think it's more stylish and entertaining than Blood Simple. Blood Simple's a little more gritty. Like this has a heart to it more than Blood Simple does. Easy to admire what the Coens are trying to do in Fargo, but more difficult to actually like the film, says James Barradin. Boy, you look dumb in hindsight, don't you, Jimmy? All right, well, that has been Fargo. I appreciate that. 59 Survivor VHS says, the best reviews are filled with nonsense, right? It effervesces. I've never heard anybody use effervesces. Same with Elan. Give me a break. Why don't you talk about the ennui of the cast, you dicks? But thank you for joining me for the late show of Fargo. This one's an acquired taste, but after the 3 Mad Maxes I just got done watching and some of the other big pictures, I'm sure we're going to have to get to horror anytime here, right? Just got right around the corner. I'm overdue for Near Dark with you guys. But 3:45 a.m., just like I thought. I think that's a good place to wrap it up. And thank all of you for joining me, especially Echo, Her Majesty, Queen Echo. Thank you for being here. Lemonia, oh, you are. I was just getting ready to talk about you. Lemonia Demonia. Good night, Boo. I hope you're doing better. Well, yesterday you were going through some rough stuff. I was ready to whoop somebody's ass, so I was glad to see you be in your usual lay self. But thank you for joining me. I missed Leonard Maltin Effervescent. What is an Alka-Seltzer? Later, 59th. Yeah, and I thank Mikey for dropping by. Gareth popped in here for a while. Patrick, Have Cheetah Will View, was here. Nanette and Jack dropped by. Mr. Bones, my wingman, Mr. Bones. Just the other night, Mr. Bones and I and Lamonia and Mayanne all watched Laid to Rest 1. That's on Mr. Bones' channel. It was a pretty good time. I recommend you guys check it out. Good times, like the VS Distribution Company. Right on. And later, y'all. I say later to y'all too. And matter of fact, I not only say later to y'all, I'll raise you. Have a good night and a green grass. I wish you all a green grass and high tides forever. Adios, amigo.